Chapter 9, Healing. Lamare Amark. I could walk for a long time now without feeling any pain because of Amaya's healing. Some of my wounds have yet to heal fully, but perhaps it is my motivation to fight that makes me feel stronger than I have ever been. Now, if I could only find a horse. My lady, Amaya said, waving as she approached. I waved back at her. There's no need to address me as such. Call me Lamare, I said. How are you feeling today? She asked. Like I could eat a horse. Amaya chuckled. I could do that too, she said before putting a hand over my forehead. She smiled. I am pleased to find that the fever has left you and has returned no longer. It wasn't gone as quickly as I wanted it, though. All that time lost, and I'm still here, waiting it out. Amaya sat on the unoccupied chair near mine. We were out on the porch watching the solemnity of the surroundings. If I was not so keen to search for my son, this was the kind of place that I would have wanted to settle in for a long time. I am obliged not to ask you what your plans are, Amaya began. I laughed. A wise decision, I said. You wouldn't want to be involved. I wasn't finished, she said. But logic dictates that I should. Oh, I said, wondering if I should take her offer. I stood up too quickly and grunted as my knees buckled. Amaya was quick to come to my rescue. I know that you can't wait to return to your journey, but you must remember that your wounds are still fresh, and your body is recuperating. Allow us to help you, and if you must go, take us with you to heal you along the way, she said. Do you have horses? I asked. I have two. Then perhaps we can go sooner. I don't know what's happening out there. I have yet to hear any news, but I want to find my son. His safety is most important to me. From what I know, the tree runners have affiliated with the Emperor, and they are on the move to pose a stronger control over all the provinces. What? Yes. That's what I've heard. Bulaknin is already under the leadership of the war generals, and the tree runners are roaming Akea to bring fear among the citizens. But they are gentle creatures, I said. They were. But it doesn't mean that they cannot be turned if they are promised freedom. The tree runners were supposed to be in Sinista because they were banished there by my father, the former Emperor of Akea, Northsam Mendel Amark. They were banished because of the death of the seven lords. But no trial was held, and hence, they felt they were treated unfairly. I know it is time for them to set foot outside of Sinista's confines, but this was not what I had in mind, I said. Amaya was eyeing me warily. Neither was this what many of us had expected. Who would have thought that they would side with the Emperor? Are you saying that you have defected your support to the Emperor? I asked, surprised. I did not defect, but sadly I was branded a traitor. All the healers were summoned to the palace, but I was not quick enough to comply, she paused. The tree runners brought you to me, and I couldn't leave a dying woman. Well, at least, not if I could heal her. You didn't have to. I said, unaware of the consequences of my presence. I am grateful that you didn't leave me behind, but now that I've learned what it cost you. Nonsense. A healer never says no to healing. You were barely breathing, and had I left, you would have died for sure, Amaya said. Besides, Mathis insisted that I heal you. Mathis was likely sound asleep already at this hour, so I must remember to thank him later. Your son is such a nice boy, I said. He is not my son. He was left under my care by a young girl who promised to care for him, but you know what happened during the Akene wine festival. A wave of sadness flashed upon her eyes. She was beyond healing when I found her. I was saddened upon hearing that. There were too many deaths that happened that night, and I found myself somewhat accountable for those deaths. He's lucky to have you, I said after a while. I hope to give him a good life until I get the chance to give him back to his father. Right. That would be the right thing to do. A week passed, and it must be the unrest that I felt that made me slightly irritable. All I wanted was to search for my son, but instead, I was stationed here, bound to wait for myself to fully recover. Aside from what Amaya has told me, no other news has reached us. Desperation tugged at my heart, and all I could think of was to rescue my son as soon as possible and have him back in my arms. I barely had any belongings, and that made packing easier. When Amaya left the hut and found me with my pack, I was ready to go already. You told me before that you wanted to accompany me, I began. I'm ready to take you on this journey. I would value your presence not only because of your power but because I trust you. I believe that I might also be able to offer you some level of protection too. Will you join me? It was not how I rehearsed it inside my head, but it came out rather straightforward. If Amaya had changed her mind during the past week, I would have no intention of convincing her otherwise. If she wanted to join me, it should be because she wanted to. Yes, Amaya simply said, the Emperor is after you, and I need more time to see if you are worthy of my healing or if I should just turn you in. If I surrender you to the Emperor, perhaps he would reconsider having me branded as a traitor. Fair enough, I said. I never asked for her loyalty, only her company. And for now, it was very welcome.